So you're sitting here, you're on YouTube, and you're like, why is nothing happening? I was told this was a stream about songs or even just small amounts of patter and chatter. You're wondering, why is nothing happening? Well, the reason nothing is happening is because right now it's 11:58 a.m. here in Austin, Texas, and we don't get started on this stream until noon. And so what I've done is I've given myself just about a minute here to share this stream with all of my many friends around the world and elsewhere, perhaps. And so that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to share this right now. I would say to you, perhaps you might share also. Sharing is good. But that's what I'm going to do right now, is I'm going to share this. And I'm going to say something to the effect of, I'm live right now. That's what I'm typing in here. And I just shared it. It's an amazing thing. It's a beautiful thing. Oh, Wednesday, September 30th, 2020. Hey, Jim. Hey, Eric. It's a glorious day in Austin, Texas. I think we might be headed toward a little bit of heat, but for right now, it's pretty. I think we set a record low at Austin Bergstrom International Airport this morning, 46 degrees on September 30th. That was our record low temperature. Did not sleep well last night. If we're going to be honest here, I'll talk a little bit about why. I'll talk a little bit why as we proceed. I did not tune my guitar before this live stream, but we're set up. There's a microphone. There's a guitar. There's me, my hat, my sunglasses, my boots. It's all here. You can see it. It's just all manner of goodness and happiness, and I'm very skeptical of the fact that my tuner says I'm in tune right now. But I'm going to trust the expert. My mom says it's in the 90s in LA. It always freaks me out when it gets really hot there. I think my mom feels the same way. I think I'll probably get up to about 90 here today, which is nice. Kathy, how are you? How is everybody holding up? I mean, honestly. The things we can get used to, right? I'm going to sing a song about Boston because Kathy's on and she lives north of Boston in one of my favorite places on earth. Marblehead, Massachusetts. If you have not been there, you should go. Perhaps time it so that you can go to one of Kathy's house concerts. Should one tune with a capo? Richard Haas, gosh darn it, you absolutely, if you put your capo on, you need to tune because it knocks the whole guitar out of whack because it changes the string tension. Yes. So time it so you can go to a show at Me and Thee. Hey, Ramsey. Ramsey, you know what's weird? What's weird is I tried to invite you to this Facebook event, so I'm happy you're here. I tried to invite you yesterday, and Facebook was just like, no, you don't have a friend named Ramsey Rodriguez. And so I went over to Facebook itself, and I was like, yeah, I do. But Facebook was just like, no, you can't invite him, though. Maybe it's because you're in Nashville. Maybe Facebook wants me not to share my musical situation with the folks in Nashville. Maybe not. I doubt it. I think it's a bug. Let's play Such a Town. Back when I was a grown-up. I had an office with a view of Cambridge across the river and Dedham to the south, and Boston standing pat between the two. Like that Robert Francis poem about the hound. Well, my feelings about Boston are uncertain as of now. Such a town. Such a town. Yes, Fenway Park was crumbling and neglected, and they turned off the Citgo sign. Ray Flynn took down the Rainbow Coalition. That's the Boston I picture in my mind. Not Crispus Attucks, not Paul Revere. No, it's kids throwing rocks at buses and a flag used as a spear. Such a town. Such a town. Yeah, my folks split up in Boston. Boston cut me deep and made me bleed. But I got married in Boston. My kids were born in Boston just like me. The home of Justice Margaret Marshall and Bobby Orr. The plowing stars, the burning Doyles and the four. Such a town. Such a town. Rest in peace, Doyles. We'll take the red line from Park Street out to Harvard. The orange line from State to Forest Hills. One thing I know about Boston, if I play this song in Boston, well, it might just get me killed. Thank goodness Whitey Bulger's dead and gone. Well, here's to Kevin White, the Pixies, and Robert Gould Shaw. Such a town. Such a town. Such a town. Oh. Such a town. Well, thank you for tuning in. It's September 30th. It is noon. Well, it's actually 12:07, but it's noonish. I do this every week. Most of you who are here know that. Every week at noon on Wednesday, I get on Facebook, I get on YouTube, and I play songs for an hour, and I just kind of talk about things, the nature of things. I talk a lot about myself because I don't know. This is just the way that this hour goes. That song is called Such a Town. Thank you for saying nice things about it. One of the, to get into songcraft just for a second, that song doesn't really have a chorus, right? Like it's just a series of verses. For a while when I first got serious about writing songs, I really wanted my songs to have a pretty standard Nashville kind of structure: verse, chorus, bridge, chorus, out, or just verse, chorus. But as I got a little bit more comfortable in my own songwriting skin, I started taking little risks on songs kind of like that, where they don't kind of follow the rules. I find that the songs that I write where I feel the most vulnerable and that express that express real vulnerable thoughts, those tend to be the ones where I really deviate from the standard kind of traditional structures, verse, chorus, just so you know. So what I've been doing the last couple days, other than stressing out about that presidential debate, as I think a lot of people did, is I went through my notebooks and played through a bunch of the songs that I felt like were keepers between the last record that I wrote between the last record and now. And there are a lot of them. And it was encouraging because, if you know me, I kind of agonize about, I haven't been writing good songs lately. When you zoom back and you look at it from afar, you take a wide angle view, though, over a couple of years, you see that, I see at least, that's some good stuff. I've done some good stuff, and a lot of it I haven't shared with you, or some of it I haven't shared with you. And today I think I'm going to share a few, 2 or 3 songs with you that I haven't shared with you before. So let's see if we can do that. I'm going to flip through. It's going to require me to flip through this notebook a little bit. What I would say to you as I'm flipping through this notebook is a couple things. First of all, if you're here and you're watching, say hello. That, just so I know you're here, that is good. It makes it show up more in Facebook. If you really like what you hear, it's helpful for you to share with your friends. Click that share button. You don't even have to say anything. You just click share and off it goes. It doesn't cost you anything. It might cost you some credibility with your friends if they're like, why are you sharing this random singer-songwriter from Austin who's wearing a hat? But that's a risk that you can take or not. That's a risk that you can take or not take. Let's see. So what else has been going on? I finished really one of the best novels I've ever read. An extraordinary book called Bel Canto by Ann Patchett. If you have not read it, I would highly recommend that you read it. It is a perfect novel. Perfect novels are in short supply. I can't remember. I think the last novel that approached that level of perfection was a book called The Goldfinch, which, interestingly enough, weirdly, and I didn't plan this because I don't plan anything. I don't have a set list. What's a set list? This song is called The Goldfinch. It's about a painting at a museum called the Mauritshuis in The Hague, in the Netherlands, which will figure, I think, probably a little bit into the next song that I play as well. These next 2 songs really stemmed out of a tour that I did through Europe last summer. That was one of the very best things I have done as a musical artist. It was just so fulfilling. Making records, writing songs is my favorite thing to do. Making records is my next favorite thing to do. But that tour, man, it was remarkable. So I wrote this song about this painting called The Goldfinch. It's not a whole lot bigger than a textbook. 9 by 13 inches high. And they come with a girl with the pearl earring. The goldfinch, they just walk right on by. It's just a picture of a bird and a feeder, oil on panel, a simple frame. He's chained to his perch, but his gaze is straight and steady. Makes me think that if he could, he'd fly away. 9 by 13, that's all. So much power in a picture so small. Oh. Yeah, just a brilliance of a wingtip and a notion. It held me in its thrall for so long, somehow lit from within and free of any excess. Yes, a masterpiece, a song. 9 by 13, that's all. So much power in a picture so small. 9 by 13, that's all. So much power in a picture so small. Well, that song is called The Goldfinch. There's a novel by Donna Tartt that is kind of, that painting is centered around it. And I was just talking about Perfect Novels, Bel Canto by Ann Patchett, which is a book. Bel Canto I just finished this morning, actually. I was talking about Perfect Novels, and The Goldfinch is a big book, long. But that was the closest thing to a perfect novel that I'd read before Bel Canto. So yeah, if you go to The Hague and you go to the Maritz House, you can see the Goldfinch. You can see the very, very, very massively famous girl with the pearl earring. And there's also Rembrandt Academy, the anatomy lesson. I'm having difficulty speaking today. You have probably noticed that. I think we'll get through. Little fan on the computer's running, so that might overheat. I most likely won't overheat because it's not that hot here today. Oh, well, so if there are songs that you would like to hear today, I want to make you happy. So let me know if there are requests. I don't really have a set list. I had a vague plan to play a couple things that maybe you hadn't heard. That was one of them. And now I'm going to play, I think, the other one that I mentioned, which also grew out of the European tour. Kathy. Kathy, I just wish I could have you in my ear at all times. There are a few people like that in the world, who you just kind of want to tell you it's okay. And you trust them because they are objective. Like when my mom says, you're doing fine, I don't believe her. When my wife says, you sound great, I'm like, I'm really not sure about that. Kathy's objective. If you know her, you know this. my last full day in England on this tour was July 4th of 2019. And I just remember I was on the Stoke Newington High Street in North London, getting ready for a show that evening with two incredible artists from the UK, Anna Krantz, who has written, I think with Hillary Lindsay, just an incredible songwriter. I think she might have even written with Ed Sheeran when he was first starting out. And a great artist named Jimmy Harvey. So that was cool. So I was sitting in this Turkish cafe on Stoke Newington High Street, and what you might remember about July 4th of 2019 is that there was a lot of news at that point revealing that there were families being separated and young children in cages along the southern border of the United States. The thing about North London is when you hang out up there, what you see is just an incredible variety of people getting along. So I wrote a little something when I got back from there that tried to touch on that, but also tried to touch on how wonderful that tour was. And it wasn't, I might have played it out once or twice, but it just wasn't very good. And for some reason I decided to go back to it on Monday and Tuesday of this week. And so this is the latest iteration of that song, which is called July 4th, 2019, I believe. Well, I'm 5,000 miles from Austin, in London, in a Turkish cafe. The irony is not lost on me, as today is Independence Day. I ain't feeling homesick. I have my reasons why. In North London on the 4th of July. Drank a pint of bitters in Blackheath. I saw a masterpiece in The Hague. I ate meat pies in Carlisle and snuck up to Edinburgh on an off day. 16 shows, 18 days, and I ain't even tired. In North London on the 4th of July. Well, at home they'll be cooking up burgers, riding jet skis and drinking cheap beer with the stars and stripes on their boxers. And Jason Aldean in their ears. It's just afternoon here in London. Tomorrow this time I'll be gone. But this high street has a hold on me. These folks seem to be getting along. Well, I think for a while I'll just sit here and watch the world go by. In North London on the 4th of July. So yes, that song is called July 4th, 2019. There's a piece of heavy equipment going behind me because they're laying Google Fiber in the neighborhood, and so there might be some ambient noise. But when you do a show in your backyard, such a thing is to be expected. Let's see. Okay. So I did white knuckle it through the presidential debate last night. And I think my reaction is quite similar to the reaction of many folks. I don't think it changed a whole lot of minds. Which is sad in its own sense, but to be honest, based on the way that the polls are looking at this point in 2020, I don't want a whole lot of minds to change. I mean, I'd love for them to change in the right direction, but Eric Meyernick from the Netherlands asked me to play a couple of the songs that I played last week, and I'm going to do that. He asked me to play a song called Madeline and a song called The Watchman from the first record. And so I'll do that. If there's something you want to hear, please do ask for it. And we'll covers or originals or whatever. I'm going to just tune for a real quick second here. Thank you all so much for joining today. It means a lot to me that you're here. I've been kind of angsty about live streams lately, just because of the general, I think, reduction in engagement that you see on Facebook for a variety of reasons. And I get angsty, especially kind of during them. And then after I'm done, I go in and I'd look and see how people were engaging it at the time and how people appreciate and are grateful to me for the diversion or for whatever. And the views, slowly tick up and people check them out in the ensuing week. And so thank you for being here. It means a lot. It really does. This song is called Madeline. Well, there are three of us. And I'm the only one left. Yes, it's monotonous. Living in this damaged head. My sister's passed away before me. We bickered to the last. They were all I had for family. The ticking clock on a table by my bed tells me I'm still alive, but I packed it in a long, long time ago. My, oh my, my, oh my. Well, this nursing home ain't no home at all. Gray linoleum and dull green paint on the walls. The hospice nurse asks me what I need. I just tell her I'm fine. She brings me chocolates and chicken lo mein. My, oh my, my, oh my. Madeline, my name is so sweet, and I wish that life had been sweeter to me. Busted dreams all scattered across the years. This one won't be denied. I ain't asking for money, love, or looks. All I want is to die. My, oh my, my, oh my. That song is called Madeline. It's from my first record. Now, the first version of that song I wrote shortly after my great aunt Madeline passed in May of 2014. And it was long and it was unwieldy and it didn't really honor her memory or her life, which was a very sad life. And so I put it aside for a while. It went into the shop, as I sometimes say. And then after I went to a workshop that you've heard me talk about extensively, Mary Gaucher's songwriting workshop in January of 2016, about a month or so after that, I revisited that song Madeline. I shortened it, and I made it truer to the sadness of her experience. You know, the song initially had almost been more of a tribute to my grandmother who'd passed about 2.5 years before, but then it wasn't about Madeline. So the workshop with Mary, I think, gave me the tools to really dig into that sadness and that vulnerability and be honest and respectful about it. You know, what the Mary Gauthier workshop really is about, being vulnerable in your songwriting, because it helps you really connect with people. which is like not just like, and that's good for your music. No, I mean, it's good for being alive to connect with people. And so I rewrote that song and I sent it to her shortly afterward. And I said, is it okay if the vulnerability that I'm talking about isn't mine? Is that acceptable, or is that some kind of emotional, am I crossing an emotional boundary I shouldn't cross? And she said, no, that's really good. And what's interesting is that was around the time that she was putting the finishing touches on her record of songs with soldiers who had come back from Iraq and Afghanistan. So she knew of what she spoke, obviously. Eric also asked for Watchmen. I call this the first good song I wrote. And we'll talk a little bit about the craft after I play it. Yeah, the song is called The Watchman. Well, I stand on a battered limestone wall, trying to keep a grip on my nerves. I've been up here long as I can recall, forsaken by the masters I still serve. On my best days, I remain unsure that I can be a watchman anymore. Well, this cold wind is too bitter for me. Cuts through my coat and straight into my bones. I stare out at the wild and angry sea and shift my weight atop these ancient stones. I'm weary of this unforgiving show, and I can't be a watchman anymore. Gonna keep these torch fires burning and try to stay awake, but this outpost ain't my prison, and to die here ain't my fate. It was a just and worthy cause. I have to say that I've had my fill, so I'm handing off these burdens I have borne, and I won't be a watchman. No, I won't be a watchman. No, I won't be a watchman. Hey, anymore. So that's called The Watchman. It's the first track on my first record, and as I have said, it's the first really good song I feel like I wrote. Yeah, I mean, it was March. It was 2015. I'd had this notion of writing a song about walking away from the legal profession, and the image of John Kennedy, I think, talked about us being watchmen on the walls of justice, and that not lawyers specifically, but I think Americans. That was a different time. But that was an image that really stuck with me. And so in March, I I started trying to write that song, and it kind of came in fits and starts. And then finally, on a Saturday morning, I was alone sitting on the couch, and I happened upon this melody, this melody part. The on my best days I remain unsure that I can be your watchman anymore. So that kind of became the core of it. There was a bunch of abstract language around it because I was scared. I was scared to be literal and honest about what was going on. And in the end, I mean, it really is. It is still pretty abstract. And I remember playing the final version of the song, or almost final version of the song, for a publisher in Nashville, and she was like, "That's cool. I have no idea what's going on," which is a problem on Music Row. They don't like there to be gaps. They don't like there to be mystery or abstraction. But it started out being exceptionally abstract, and after sharing it with another publisher in Nashville who really liked it and really liked the concept behind the song, but wanted me to make some lyrical tweaks, I turned it into this song about a watchman on a wall, forsaken by the masters that he's serving. And spent a lot of late nights actually working through. Once I had the melody and the meter and that kind of thing, trying to stuff the words into that form, and like legal pads, just kind of full of scratch outs and all that kind of stuff. And then I got it to where I felt like I wanted it to be. And the weekend that I met Walt Wilkins at Kevin Welsh's house in Wimberley, Texas, for a songwriting retreat, I played that song. It was the first song I played, and Walt really liked it, and that his liking of that song formed the basis of our relationship, which I treasure. But the last verse used to be longer. It used to have a second line. It was, I think it was something like, "We need somebody on this wall to save us from the best parts of ourselves," something like that, or the worst parts of ourselves, the best parts. Well, and Walt said, "Just cut those two lines and just have it be a half of a verse." And I was like, "But you're not allowed to do that." He says, "Yes, you totally are." And so I tried to. I started playing it that way, and I played it for people the very first time that weekend, because at the end of the weekend, Kevin puts on a little show. And people really connected with that song. So I started playing that out. And but it's still abstract, you know. It's not as vulnerable as some of my other songs where I really do, where I bleed on the page for y'all, you know. I think it's time for this guest to show up. You might remember that when we were in Los Angeles for a couple weeks in August, which was fun and wonderful, there was an owl that joined us for those shows, and I enjoyed that owl. I enjoy things like this owl here. And so one day I was sitting in our living room here, and there was a knock on the door, and an Amazon delivery had happened, and it was the owl that you see here that showed up in a little Amazon package. I don't know the gender of the owl. I don't know the name of the owl. But it's special. Makes me happy to have it here. And so for the last 18 minutes or so, we'll be here with the owl. Ramsey asked for me to play Anika, which I will do. I will do that. When we were coming out with the second record, Peter Blackstock at the Austin American Statesman premiered a track off of it, and he described what I do as literary-oriented Americana. I'm down with that. I am down with that. And I think that you can really hear the literary orientation in this song. It's called Anika. If I had a wooden leg, you'd steal it and leave me stuck up in a hayloft all alone. If I were Heathcliff, you'd forsake me and then haunt me as a ghost when you were gone. Well, I must have had it coming. I can't for sure say how. It's strange I have this stubborn wish you were right here with me now. And I have fault lines etched across my heart like the cracked up perfect patchwork of the Mona Lisa. And the deepest cut of all belongs to you. Yes, it all began with you, sweet Anika. Sweet Anika. If I were Jake, you'd be Lady Brett. Your ways leave me desperate and beguiled. If I were Earth, you'd be the temptress moon, sending light across 250,000 miles. I guess I fall in love too easy, and I move on too slow. But some broken things just stay broke, yeah, that's the way it goes. And I have fault lines etched across my heart like the cracked up perfect patchwork of the Mona Lisa. And the deepest cut of all belongs to you. Yes, it all began with you, sweet Anika. Sweet Anika. That song is called Anika. My friend Ramsey from Nashville asked me to play that, and so that's what I do. If there's something you want to hear in the next 13 minutes, drop it in the comments, and we'll see if I can do that. Anika, you know, going back to the whole songcraft discussion we were having before, it is a pretty standard form. It's a verse. You have a little pre-chorus. Sometimes in Nashville they call it a channel. And then you have a chorus, and then you do it again. All the verses are the same length. So if I don't, It's an A-B rhyme pattern, so it's not, or rather an A-B-C-B rhyme pattern, something like that. Really standard tune that still manages to stay kind of outside of the box, because we got references to a Flannery O'Connor story called Good Country People. We've got a reference to Wuthering Heights, a reference to The Sun Also Rises, and then the Mona Lisa pokes her way in, and yeah, I do want to say about the Mona Lisa real quick, though. I feel like there was a stream a couple weeks ago or a month or so ago where I was talking about the Mona Lisa, and somebody's like, yeah, I hate that painting, or, something like that. With a painting like the Mona Lisa, and I think there are a couple songs that are like this as well, it becomes an item that is utterly divorced from its artistic quality. It becomes kind of like a cultural touchstone, I guess, where it becomes so part of our common consciousness that there's a magic in seeing it in person. I've seen it a few times, gone to the Louvre and seen it. I think both before and after the Da Vinci Code came out, and that makes a difference. But you stand in front of that painting, and it's really hard not to feel, not to be mindful, I guess, of just the pure degree of emotion that work of art has generated over the years. I felt the same way when I went to Milan and was looking at the Last Supper. You just look at that and it's like, my God, like, this is the thing that all the cliches are based on. I think I'm going to try to play a song I wrote with Scott Martin. That's just a fun freaking song. Let's see if we can find it. We're going through the notebook again. Kent Scarborough asked for When the Ocotillo Blooms. I will finish with that. Yes, I will finish with that. So let's see if I can find. So Scott and I, during the early days of the pandemic, started just messing around with a song idea that he had that was so cool. And we did it via text. And then we got together in his backyard from like 12 feet apart and finished it. And that was just a wonderful writing experience. Sometimes you just kind of ask the muse for a word or for a line or for a concept, and she's just like, okay, you've been good lately. Here it is. And that was one such experience. So that was cool. So I wrote this with Scott. If you don't know Scott's music, you should find it. Scott Martin. There's a song I co-wrote with him up on Spotify called Virginia Dare. And then he has another one up. I can't remember which one it is. He's a brilliant talent. He's going to have a record coming out at some point in the next while that you're going to love, whoever you are. So Scott and I wrote this. It's funny when I play it because if you know Scott, he's just a ferocious, preposterous, genius level talent. So I'm going to do what I can to honor this song that Scott and I wrote together. I got too much time to be thinking about this, thinking about that, thinking about the other. Like I'm stuck on a plane by a man who's telling me the story of his life and somebody's brother. It says Jesus calmed the storm, stepped out of the boat and walked on the water. Dinah blows her home, and I can't stop this train from running. Got too many dreams for my heart to hold, for my mind to know which one I ought of. It's like a midway ruckus on a hot summer night, and the barkers howl desiderata. It says Jesus calmed the storm, stepped out of the boat and walked on the water. Dinah blows your home, I can't stop this train from running. Oh, I can't stop this train from running. Well, we believe we have the power, we can will the sun to rise. Well, this fire in my head never cools, and I cannot stop the thunder and how fast the world is turning. So at the speed of light, I send my love to you. It says Jesus calmed the storm, stepped out of the boat and walked on the water. Dinah blow your horn, I can't stop this train from running. Oh, I can't stop this train from running. I can't stop this train from running. So that's that song. Can't Stop This Train, I think is what it's called. It was fun to write. It's fun to play. I hope sometime soon you can hear Scott play it, because it's a beautiful thing when you listen to Scott play anything. I have time for one more, and Kent Scarborough, just a real super fan here in Austin, somebody who's supported everything I've done since I've gotten down here, and told other people about me, and is just a great guy. He asked me to play When the Ocotillo Bloom. So I'm going to close this set out with this song about my beloved Terlingua, Texas. And then we'll all head off into the rest of our Wednesdays. I just don't think that's quite there yet. I just don't. And I want it to be there, because otherwise it's just annoying. I don't know. Thank you again so much for watching, for listening, for commenting and talking to me about stuff you like. That means a lot to me, a lot. And we'll be back next week, I suspect, doing this again. There's another debate next week. I think it's the vice presidential debate. I think that one will be fun. The Owl says goodbye and thank you for your support. And I do too. Gosh darn it. I do too. The song is called When the Ocotillo Bloom. Terlingua, I think I've fallen for you. You haunt my Austin City dreams every night. How the land reclines on down to Lahidas, and the sun spares nothing in sight. To be on that terrace at Milagro in the morning before the heat stakes its ironclad claim in a ghost town surrounded by flat-top mesas in a desert that can never be tamed. Well, I love you, my darling, with all of my heart. Your mountains, your Mescalero moon. And I miss you, my darling, more than you know. But I'll be back, yes, I'll be back when the Ocotillo bloom. I'll be back, oh, when the Ocotillo bloom. Quicksilver miners rest side by side in a graveyard with crosses of wood. And tourist snap pictures get burnt by the sun and talk of buying up the desert. Well, the prices are good. I love you, my darling, with all of my heart. Your mountains, your Mescalero moon. And I miss you, my darling, more than you know. But I'll be back, yes, I'll be back when the Ocotillo bloom. I'll be back when the Ocotillo bloom. I love you, my darling, with all of my heart. Your mountains, your Mescalero moon. And I miss you, my darling, more than you know. I'll be back, yes, I'll be back when the Ocotillo bloom. I'll be back when the Ocotillo bloom. All right, everybody, have a great rest of your day. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you're not watching this live, I hope that whatever day you're watching this on and whatever hour is an hour of happiness and fulfillment. I will talk to you soon and see you next week.